Trunk Nation with Eddie Trunk.
The defender of the faith. I gotta admit to you, Eddie, I love listening to you.
Sirius XM.
Keeper of the flame.
And we are back on Trunk Nation. Sirius XM 106 volume. Talking rock with you live Monday through Friday, 2 to 4 p.m. Eastern time. Of course, the show replays in its entirety every night, 9 to 11 p.m. Eastern. And you can grab full shows on demand in their entirety on the SiriusXM app to download or stream. So plenty of ways to get the show, whether it be live, the rebroadcast, or on demand on the app. It's great to welcome, as always, to the program an old friend who is busy with a number of projects, has a big tour coming up with Foreigner and Jason Bonham. I believe, well, I know is working on some new material and also still celebrating his illustrious past. One of those things in the past would be his time in Deep Purple with a great live record out, Whitesnake Live, The Purple Tour, and I'm sure a bunch of other stuff as well. It is David Coverdale of Whitesnake. DC, how are you, my friend?
Edward, it's nap time. What the hell?
Is this when we have a spot of tea? Is this when we have a spot of tea and a little massage? Is that what goes on in the Coverdale world?
It's nap time when you get to my age. Come on, I've worked hard enough. And my compliments to you and my belated congratulations to your aunt. I hope she enjoyed her Whitesnake Zinfandel.
Yes, I texted you and posted on my social media a photo because we had an 88th birthday for my aunt, who is like another mother to me, on the weekend, a big family gathering. And my wife said, well, we need to bring some wine. And it was one of those bring your own restaurants. And I said, my goodness, my 88-year-old aunt would just love some Whitesnake wine.
Oh, my God. Such an honor, such a treasure. I hope. And
I'll tell you what, DC, it got rave reviews from my largely Italian family. It really is great stuff.
I grovel in appreciation, Edward. Eduardo,
are you still doing it?
I keep forgetting you're Italian. What the hell's Trunk from? That's not Italian.
No, that's my dad, and he's German, so I'm half and half. My mom's name is Ardolino.
Oh, yeah.
Are you still doing the wine?
You know what? I don't know what I've done, but the guy I work with, Dennis Della Montagna, has just bought a house like 5 minutes from my studio. So he keeps leaving cases of wine. For Cindy only, do not touch. DC, hands off. So, yeah, we'll probably do some more. I'd actually love to do some whiskey, to be honest.
Really?
I mean, oh, God, Whitesnake whiskey and Whitesnake weed.
Well, that would also be pretty. Is weed legal yet by you where you live?
It is. It is totally legal, Edward. At last, Nevada can pay for some infrastructure.
Oh, because you're in Nevada. So do you partake in that, David? Do you still?
Darling, I need to get Japanese visas. Don't expect me to be too honest.
Well, you live in an area, it's legal, it's fully legal, so I figured you could say.
Oh, but I don't. Yes, that's for me to know and you to wonder.
Okay. Well, we'll look forward to Whitesnake weed and Whitesnake. What did you say? Whiskey.
Whitesnake whiskey. Yes. That's
now we have
kind of my sipping. You know, I'm in love with the renaissance of Irish whiskey for many years now. The Middletons and Redbreasts, 21-year-old, 26-year-old. I sound like a pervert. No, 26 years old. Sound like a pedophile, for God's sakes. Oh, Lord.
No, you were over 18, so you were good.
Oh, yes. I'm well over 18, Angel.
So tell me what's going on. I want to talk about the live record in a second, but, I saw Michael Devin not too long ago. We were on a cruise together, and he said work is progressing nicely on a new Whitesnake record, right?
Oh, my God, Edward. We did like 5 or 6 projects last year. Michael, isn't he a doll,
Mm-hmm.
I've just had all the guys in. They flew in Friday night. We shot the new Whitesnake video Saturday, and everybody flew out straight after. But we had a dinner where my sides were splitting. It was amazing. A lot of the guys, this album's been a bit of a jigsaw because everybody was working, a musical jigsaw. So like Tommy had only sort of worked to the demos that Joel, Rev and I had put together. And so he was hearing, like walking into Picasso's studio, you know, before he starts painting. And the next time you go back, he's got his exhibit there, you know. So everyone was thrilled with what they were hearing. We had a great reunion, and then everyone was off. And then I think we're going to hook up beginning of June in Los Angeles to rehearse for the Foreigner run in the U.S. Last year, we had the 87th, 30th anniversary. That was hugely successful. I think you got one, I hope, Edward.
Yeah, it's amazing, yeah.
And we were supposed to release the Purple Live DVD, the Purple Tour Live, for Christmas, but we had some technical issues, and that came out in January. Both of those albums, believe it or not, went top 5 in most countries around the world. It was extraordinary time. So we had Joel coming in while he was working with Cher. He was like 50 minutes away in Vegas. So he'd do 3 nights, I think, with Cher and then have 3 days off. He'd fly in and do some additional guitar for me. I don't know whether you'll remember, it was never released in the U.S. It was an album of mine called Restless Heart. Mm-hmm. So he did some amazing guitar on there. Derek Sherinian put amazing organ. It's like a fabulous hybrid of Deep Purple and early White Snake. I don't know when the hell we're going to get that out. This year we have, of course, summer will be on Frontiers will be the Flesh and Blood, the Foreigner tour. We have the Slide It In Deluxe reissue in fall. And for Christmas, we got White Snake Unzipped, acoustic journeys through the years. And I'm really excited about that. So there's no rest for the wicked.
Weren't you talking about slowing down and maybe retiring a couple years ago? What the hell's going on there, man?
These guys I work with think I'm 30, for Christ's sake. You know, double it and add a few more digits.
But you're still having fun and you're still creating. And as long as you're still having a blast, I mean, and you love the guys you're doing it with, that's important, right?
Completely and utterly. And that's my inspiration. And of course, being on social media with such incredible positive support and encouragement is completely and utterly motivating. Yeah, you know, these guys, I swear to God, you know, Tommy and I celebrated 30 years last year together. I mean, he just came in. We were obviously jamming to the track we've recorded for the video, but he was just playing. These guy's a monster of a player. It's
no
so
doubt.
Inspiring. Yeah, so inspiring. This is, I think, going to be the best Whitesnake album. And I know that's cliched stuff, but I know what I'm talking about. I should do after almost 50 years.
So is it done? The album of all new material is done?
We're in the mix now. I got that horrible H3 flu, Edward, which took me out for, I think, about 6 weeks.
Oh.
Before I started to feel, you know, like myself again. It was horrifying, yeah. It was a killer, you know. That I don't know what the full thing is, but it was that strain of flu that the anti-flu vaccination didn't cover. It was evil,
I see.
Just evil strain of flu.
So this video that you just shot, is it for a song on the upcoming new record?
Oh, of course, yeah.
So you're going to get a song and a video out soon of something brand new.
I would imagine so. I've got a few more like external shots other than the band stuff to feature some really fun elements. You know, we had the Burn video, which Christmas Day, talk about I'm dreaming of a Whitesnake Christmas, like the darkest, gloomiest, you know, destruction of Atlantis when we did the Burn video. And this is like almost Light Snake, but it's a kick-ass song. You're going to love it. But it's going to be some real fun elements, paying respect and a nod to Whitesnake's past, but certainly not as dark and as gritty as the Burn video. This is because you know yourself, you've seen Whitesnake a bunch of times. It's very much a party scenario.
Yeah.
With audience involvement and stuff. So, you know, that's pretty cool.
But I think what's really cool about what you're doing, David, is you're celebrating your past, which is an amazing past, but at the same time, you're still creating new stuff. You've got one foot going forward, and then you're still, of course, giving a nod to some of the things in the past. So it's really like the best of both worlds.
Well, this is interesting. You know, the guys, after we'd had dinner, we came back to the studio and were playing, you know, a couple of MP3s of the songs and, you know, where they were. And they're very, very listenable. And everyone's just so supportive of each other, going, man, what a Joel and Reb, great solo, man. You know, all of this stuff. It was just really positive, rather than guys who just listen to their own thing and go, I'm not loud enough. You know, it was incredibly positive. And the way I was describing it to the guys is that this has all the necessary Whitesnake elements that I need to call it Whitesnake, you know, but with a vibrant, fresh coat of paint. The songs are, you know, this is the first time Joel and I have written together. It's the first time in all these years that the longest standing member of Whitesnake, Red Beach, we've never written together until this project. So it's a family affair. It really is cool. I'm very excited for people to hear it.
Well, it sounds like we'll be getting something, at least a song to hear from it soon, so looking forward to that. And before I ask you some stuff about the Purple Live record, you mentioned the tour coming up with Foreigner. Do you have history with those guys? Do you go back with Mick Jones or anything?
Obviously. Yeah, well, the drummer, Christopher, you know, worked with me on the Good to Be Bad album. Beautiful guy. And of Michael Jones, of course, I've known for forever. We certainly wouldn't own up to how many years we've known each other. But I'd heard of Mick, you know, when he was working with Johnny Halliday, God rest his soul. But just a fan, admirer. I knew Lou, you know, the old guy, the guys, you know, in the original band.
Well, Lou might come out. They're saying Lou might come out. He's been popping out at some shows and doing a couple of songs, so you may see him out there.
That would be lovely to see. I haven't seen him for years, for many, many years, and what a lovely guy and a great singer. Jason, I've known since he was a kid, an infant. You know, I was very close with his dad, Bonzo, the extraordinary John Bonham. And it's interesting. We were doing a sound check, I don't know, a lifetime ago. I'm standing with Jeff Beck. This is like the early Whitesnake. We're at, in those days, it was the Hammersmith Odeon doing a sound check, and I'm standing with my tour manager, and Jeff Beck, and Jason comes in. I'm going, oh, my God, you got long pants on, you know, which was wonderful. He was 17, and he said, can I jam? And I'd rarely let people jam with the Snakes, unless they're ex-Snakes, you know. And I went, hang on. And I went up, and Pacey was with me at the time, Ian Pace. I said, you know, would you mind if John's son, he went, no, you know, come on. And I swear to God, I'm standing with Beck and my tour manager who knew Bonzo very, very well. He worked with Zeppelin. And we played Ready and Willing. I swear to God, Edward, I closed my eyes, and it was like Bonzo was playing.
Yeah.
Jason, the soul of John Bonham is in his son.
Yeah.
He is. So John was unique. We all know that.
Yeah, of course, yeah.
What he brought, one of the aspects of Zeppelin, which is extraordinary. Like John Lord's left hand was an enormous, on the organ, was one of the primary components of Deep Purple's sonic identity. Bonzo, I mean, Jesus, what couldn't you build on top of those drum patterns, you know?
Right.
Glorious. But Jason, as I say, and it was, you know, we were all just standing ovation. He was amazing. So I'm really looking forward to reconnecting. You know, we send each other dirty texts now and again, but but yeah, it's going to be a family affair, I think, and people are in for a treat. You know, I don't know how many, with being a special guest for the guy for Foreigner, I don't know how many new songs I can squeeze in, because I think it's going to be almost like a greatest hits thing with Jason doing Zeppelin stuff.
Sure.
And Foreigner, of course, you know, an hour and a half of solid hits, you know. So, and people hopefully will be hoarse and exhausted by the end of the show. I think I'll be. But yes,
hey,
you're saying you're slowing down. I'm thinking of getting electric rollerblades, man. It's just honest to God, and it's not me. It's like I work with Warner's, which is the third time in my career, and third time a charm. We're doing great. The two projects we've had together, the '87 project and the Purple DVD, and I'm working, as you know, with the fabulous Frontiers, Serafino, Mario, and they've been so supportive through my illness. That we had to send a legal letter saying force majeure, which because of illness, that flu, there's no way I could go. It was incredibly a devastating flu. And a lot of people lost their lives, and thank God I was in shape to be able to fight it off. But it took some time. But
now 6 weeks, that's unbelievable.
Yeah. Well,
6 weeks.
Part of that was just the recovering. It kicked my ass.
Yeah.
I mean, you fall over at my age, mate. It's not a giggle. It's like, oh, my God, you're shaken out of your aura.
My goodness. A little warmed up Whitesnake wine would have set you right, I'm sure, David.
Oh, totally. Well, actually, the Irish whiskey helped.
Yeah, I'm sure. Hey, can you
Whitesnake wine, I'm assured has healing properties, but there you go.
I want to talk to you a little bit in detail about this the album, the Purple Tour that's come out. It's a live record that has come out to celebrate that. It came out recently. Can you hold through a break and give me a few more minutes so we can talk about this record a little bit?
Babe. Absolute, my pleasure.
All right, great. I appreciate that. So we're going to put David on hold for a second, and then we're going to hit our break, and then we'll come back, and he's been kind enough to give us a few more minutes. I want to talk about this tremendous record. For people that don't know or remember, David went out and celebrated his history in Deep Purple by playing a bunch of that material that's been documented on a new album that's just been released, and a couple other things I want to talk to David Coverdale about. So let's put him on hold, and let's hit our break, and then we'll come back, and with our remaining time, we will, with some more remaining time, we'll spend some time talking with David Coverdale right after this on Trunk Nation on Sirius XM 106 volume. Maybe we'll do a little bit of the live Purple album if you have it queued up, Ed. Give people a little taste of it as we go into break.
Oh, I do. Hey, it's Andy Cohen from Trunk Nation with Eddie Trunk.
You are my drive home every day. Thank you for flying the rock and roll flag, man.
Sirius XM.
Sounds amazing to this day.
Volume.
All right, we are back. Live on a Tuesday, talking rock with you on Sirius XM 106 volume, picking up the conversation with David Coverdale, who continues to join us here. And as I mentioned before, there is a document of the tour that David did with Whitesnake covering Deep Purple material, as well as, of course, some Whitesnake songs as well. David, I know for you, going out and doing that run, playing your past with Deep Purple was something that was very, very special, and this is a great document of it. Talk a little bit about how it came about that you decided that was the right time in your career to go out and sort of address all the Purple stuff.
Well, it was all related to a phone call from John Lord in 2012, Edward, if you remember our conversation. Well, several conversations before, John had said to me that he'd been diagnosed with a particularly aggressive cancer, which was just horrifying to hear. John was and remains in spirit an immense inspiration, mentor, raconteur, just a beautiful man. One of the reasons I actually got the gig, I think, with Deep Purple was John talking to me in the most welcoming, hospitable fashion. I have such gratitude for him. It's almost indescribable. So when he called me and told me about this, it was obviously a tearful exchange, but he said he was determined to kick it. And after that, would I be prepared to do something Purple related with him? Of course, I wasn't going to say no, Edward, So it was, of course I'll do that, and I thought I could put Whitesnake on hold for 6 months or whatever to a year. One of John's dreams was to have all the former members of Deep Purple who were still alive to do a performance together, like a charity show, which I told him I was there for him. So I started listening to the Purple albums. I'm not usually, I don't usually go back and I was going, oh my God, these are terrific. The Burn and Stormbringer and Come Taste the Band. Sadly, as we know, John passed away. And around the same time, a very small window of time, my wife lost her brother Daniel, and I lost my beloved Aunt Sylvia, who for 50 years, every conversation we ever had involved music. So these were devastating blows. And I was trying to think, what am I supposed to learn from this? And the bonus, if I can say that, with John is that I'd had plenty of opportunities to tell John how much I loved him, admired him, appreciated him in the times we worked together, because he, as you know, not only did I work with him in Deep Purple, but he joined me in Whitesnake. So I thought, for me, it was really important, before I lost anyone else, to reach out to people I hadn't been in touch with, not necessarily in the music business, but just, people from that I hadn't spoken to for decades. And I reconnected with so many people, and then it occurred to me the person I really should call was Richie Blackmore, because he and John formed Deep Purple. And as you can testify, there was many, many decades of Richie and I being very unsavory about each other. There was a big competition between Whitesnake and Rainbow until, the Whitesnake 87 album, which made competitions just ridiculous. So I got in, I had Candace email, and I emailed her very respectfully and introduced myself to express
Richie's wife. For people that don't know, yeah. Richie's wife, so we should tell people, yeah.
Yeah, forgive me, Candace Knight, Knight Blackmore, however she goes. However, the response that came back was, "Who are you and how did you get this email?"
Really?
Which would have been mine. Oh, yeah. Of course, out of the blue. I'd never met Candace, and suddenly she gets his email. And I think Richie was as devastated as I was. And I said, look, let me give you these names of mutual acquaintances. We used to have the same driver in Europe, a guy called Sasha, So she said, so she got in touch with people, found out I was legit, and then came back, said, I'm so sorry, David. The next person you hear from will be Richie. And we reconnected, and he was extremely complimentary with what I'd achieved with Whitesnake, which was amazing coming from one of my original mentors, I had no intention. There was a rumor went around the internet that Glenn Hughes and I have been trying to do this for years. That's absolute bullshit, internet viral nonsense. This all was fueled from the loss of John Lord. And when I reached out to Richie, it wasn't anything to do with doing a project. That came later in our conversations. As you can testify, I am totally happy with the guys I'm working with, and I'm completely and utterly happy with Whitesnake. So
there was nothing to the rumor of trying to do a Mark III reunion.
Well, no, but Richie asked me if I'd speak to his manager, Carol, and I said, of course. And she said, would you be interested in doing a reunion thing? I said, well, how long would it take? What are you looking at? If it's an album, I don't think I can take that kind of time off, but I can do a 3-month tour or something like that. Who would you put on keyboards? I said Keith Emerson, God rest his soul. I think Purple fans and John Lord fans would have accepted Keith. And then the question was which, Roger or Glenn? And I said, well, Glenn's my soul brother. It'd have to be Glenn, That's as far as we got. And I said, I don't think Pacey will want to do it because he's tied up with Purple, Deep Purple. Mm-hmm. So I'd recommended Tommy, of course, who is a monster, But that wasn't my intent at all. So while all this was going on, from the John Lord call through the Richie things, I'm looking at contemporizing some of these songs. Over 40 years old. I think I joined Purple, 45 years ago? Jesus. I'm thinking, I wonder if, I hope Rich will be up for contemporizing stuff. So I'd actually started just messing around with ideas. And when I withdrew from all of this stuff, I'm going, no, I don't want, I really, I had all the bells ringing that it wasn't right and I should stick with the Snakes. And Cindy, my wife, and I were out for dinner I said, well, I've done all this work. And she said, well, why don't you do it as a salute, a tribute to John, and under the Whitesnake banner? And I went, oh. I spoke to my band. They were all down for it. And Frontiers loved the idea. They're huge Purple fans. And that's how it came about. It did extraordinarily well and fueled a tour,
Do you think that in some ways, and I'm just hitting me, that you reconnecting with Ritchie Blackmore, even though it didn't result in anything, but you reconnecting with him?
It did actually. It reconnected us, apart from that awful energy that existed with us for almost 30 years, Edward. That's a gift to me.
Sure.
A gift,
Sure, yes, for you personally, but I'm wondering, because for a long time he shunned his whole history as a rock artist and wouldn't play Rainbow, wouldn't play Deep Purple, wouldn't even talk about it. And it seems like shortly after that, he is now doing Rainbow and he is playing rock again. I'm wondering if you kind of got his juices flowing.
Well, I don't know. I do know that through my social media, people have often said how sad it is. I mean, Ritchie is such an inspiration to people like Edward Van Halen, for God's sakes. An amazing electric musician. But I can fully understand he's doing what he loves because I'm doing what I love. It's. But the fact I think there was, I got him thinking again about maybe doing some electric playing again. And I'm delighted, I think, for 2 consecutive years. He hasn't done a lot of stuff, but, he's back to delighting, thousands of people in concert playing electric again. He's an astonishing musician. But I totally honor him for doing what he loves.
Are you still have you talked to him again since all of this? Are you still on a regular contact with him or no?
No, I can't. Are you kidding? I did 6 projects last year. I had to connect with my wife. Well, and I'm so busy Twittering.
Yes, you're great on. I love your Twitter feed. Everybody should follow David for sure. One other guy I want to ask you about that you worked with, because we've talked about this before. You've worked with just unbelievable guitar players throughout your entire career, Blackmore included.
All of them. Edward, don't make that terrible mistake most people do. I've worked with great drummers, great bass players, great keyboard players.
Of course.
Too. It's astonishing. But I think primarily people look at the astonishing array of 6 and 7 string sorcerers that I've had the pleasure of working with.
But I want to ask you, we talked about Jason Bonham and John Bonham a little while ago. I want to ask you about your friend who you did a record with, of course, Coverdale Page and Jimmy Page.
Uh-huh.
He seems like, we're coming up on the 50th anniversary of Zeppelin. For years, he's been threatening he's going to do a solo album, he's going to do this, he's going to do that, but it never really happens. I think it's time for you. Now, I know you got a lot on your plate, but I think it's time for you to get it on the phone with Jimmy Page, and let's go do Coverdale Page 2 and get that guy playing some guitar again, man.
It's time, brother. It's Edward. It's time. When I decide to do, before I committed to make a new studio record, with all the fun and games that Reb and I have had, he's the longest surviving member of Whitesnake at 15 years. But we'd never sat down to write together. So I said to Michael, my co-producer, I'm not going to commit to anything until I sit down with Reb and Joel. And Michael had a super idea of Michael Devin, a song called Mojo Man, which we didn't get to finish, unfortunately, but a super tune. But just sitting down with Reb and Joel was just a breath of fresh air. We've got, I think, potentially a huge Whitesnake record. Whether or not it's the last studio record or not, I do not know. But I can tell you I'm inordinately proud of it. I had 6 weeks away, disconnected from the project because of illness. And reconnecting with it, I'm going, oh, my God. And the guys, as I say, were in at the weekend, and they're all blown away. It's going to be a project for each member of Whitesnake to be proud of. I don't have time. I've been saying to Jimmy for years he should do something like Carlos did with Supernatural. I said, I'll be there. I'll do a couple of songs with you. Absolutely. He's got the ideas. It's just a different world.
Yeah.
And of course, I don't think Robert's been over generous. He's happy doing his thing. I mean, I can understand that because I share that kind of joy with my band, My heart goes out to him. Pagey's one of the most influential, inspirational, beautiful musicians on the planet that God gifted us. I would do anything to assist Jimmy doing a project or whatever. But my commitment is to my guys.
Yeah, no, I totally understand that. But that Coverdale Page record was so good, and there's so many people that it seems like Jimmy just kind of, and I don't know the man, but just from an outsider's perspective as a fan, it just seems like he needs a solid wingman pushing him and getting him to create. I
will tell you this, and this is also down to timing. Last year, prior to Christmas, I hosted all my Warner's guys, the new people I'm working with, the new team, flew up from L.A. to Reno, where Hook City, the Whitesnake studio is. We spent the day together, discussing plans and ideas. And the president said, not the president of the United States, said, how would you think about revisiting the Coverdale Page album? And I said, what, remixing? And because initially, prior to me getting ill, we were supposed to deliver the Flesh and Blood studio record to Frontiers by the end of February in order to get it out May, June to coincide with the Foreigner run. And of course, my illness kicked it off the table. But at that time, I thought March, April, May, Jimmy and I could remix it. And mix the unreleased songs that we had, because we had 4 or 5 extra songs. At the same time, Edward, you're talking about synchronicity or good planning on the part of Warner's. The president of Warner's UK was entertaining Jimmy at dinner or lunch and said, hey, how would you fancy revisiting the Coverdale Page project? And he went, I'll call David right now. And I'd said to this guy, I'll call Jimmy right now. It was the funniest shit. But so we'll definitely, when we both have the time, we will be remixing and adding. I mean, I filmed the whole process from the moment the first day Jimmy and I sat down to write music at my house at Lake Tahoe. So there's enough stuff to make it a really interesting package for the fans, But
so we get a special edition, don't
be inundating me with when. I don't know. When I have time.
All right. I know you got a lot on your plate.
But Edward, really, right now, I'm in my office. I have a video editing room, which is also audio. So we're putting together the big bumper edition of Slide It In for fall release, I think it is, with similar to the package of the 87 stuff with unreleased mixes and demos and stuff. We have, for Christmas, Whitesnake Unzipped, Acoustic Journeys Through the Years, which will tie in with a remastered Remix 5.1, Starkers in Tokyo with Adrian, stuff I did with Doug Aldridge. We might be trying to do some filming with Reb and I to bring it more up to date. But that features, DVD, unreleased songs that I've had for years that never made it to records. Slip of the Tongue is 30th anniversary next year. So that's going to be another
crazy
bumper edition. So, mixing the Whitesnake, studio record. So after this next weekend, I think I start editing the new video with the director. So this is like, thank God my wife's in Africa on safari with my son, camera safari, that is. Otherwise, I don't have any time to get home.
Oh, wow. And hey, real quick on the Slide It In reissue that you're going to do, Are you going to put the remix, the re-record with Sykes or the original version? Which one's it going to be?
Both of them. And we've sent out Lovin' No Stranger from the American mix and Lovin' No Stranger from the European mix. We've sent to some different mastering giants in the country to see who comes back with something that glitters. Just want it to be, once again, another fresh coat of paint. So all of those things will be available in one package.
That's great. I mean, so much great. I mean, Gambler is one of my favorites on that record. The opening track, of course, there's so much great stuff on there. So I can't wait to see that get the deluxe, the deluxe treatment too.
We've also found some live things that have never been put out there, other than like bootleg things that we've been able to tweak and make a little bit sweeter. So yeah, it's action-packed, man. Action-packed time.
Well, it's good to see that you're slowing down a little. It's good. It's good to see you're slowing down, David, in your older age. I know it's good to see you taking it easy a little bit.
Yeah, I've just had 6 weeks of slowing down, and it's not for me.
Well, there's a lot going on, and you just heard it all from David Coverdale himself. And again, the tour with Foreigner, getting ready to go out there, and what a great package that is. Foreigner, Whitesnake, and Jason Bonham's Led Zeppelin experience. Nice. It'll be a hit parade. Yeah, it'll be a hit parade for sure. So, listen, I appreciate all the time. Everybody check out Whitesnake, the Purple Tour. That CD is out there right now. And again, in addition to the Purple material, CD and DVD, and in addition to the Purple material, you also get some Whitesnake songs included in there as well in the mix. So, David, it's always great to talk to you, my friend, and I look forward to seeing you out there on the road very soon.
Mutual. My best to you and yours, Edward, as always, and love to your listeners.
Take care, DC. Talk to you soon, okay?
Look forward to it. God bless.
Take care. David Coverdale, everybody. Always a pleasure to talk to him. One of the greats, and he's a character. He's always so entertaining, man. One of the earliest memories I had with Coverdale was I was working at VH1 Classic as a host. This was before that metal show. So this would have been like 05, something like that, 06. And we were shooting, I was a VJ then, and I was just doing host segments and various VJ interviews and things like that. And David comes in, and we're in the makeup room getting dressed, and as everybody knows, when you do TV, they put a little makeup on you, a little powder for the lights or whatever. So I'm getting a little bit of powder, and David's in there getting, he's getting a little more because he's getting his hair. He's David. He's Coverdale. This guy's full on, right? So he's in there, and he turns around, and he looks at me, he goes, "Edward, you're looking a little sluggish today. Are you okay?" And I was like, yeah, I'm fine, David. He goes, it was because it was early. Again, I hate doing anything early. Like anything before like noon is traumatic to me. And for whatever reason, we had to shoot early that day. And I was like, oh. So I was just probably looking a little worse for wear and just a little tired. And he goes, "Come here, Edward." And he's got his back to me. And I walk back in the makeup room, and I turn around, and he's like, just spins around. He gets about an inch from my face, and he puts his hands together real quick and goes, "Poof." It's like, and he threw like some scent into my face. And I was like, "The hell is that?" "Essential oils, Edward. It'll change your life." And he's got this counter with like potions and oils and scents and all these things. And he's like wafting them through the air. And he's walking around the studio, and the makeup woman, "Hey, here, it's the essential oil for you." It was just classic. It was classic. I've spent time with that guy in Brazil. He was part of when I did this. I was telling you guys earlier about my Brazil security thing. David not the headline, but Whitesnake was one of the artists on that festival that I did in Sao Paulo. So many great stories. Always fun to see him, and always a trip. And I think we got some real juicy news there about the Coverdale Page thing. That is maybe worthy of an explosion. Explosive news today. I've sensed that we broke something there.
Do you want me to hit the sound effect?
Just for fun, yeah.
All right.
I mean, something tells me you're going to be hearing about that on your various music news services. David Coverdale and Jimmy Page potentially talking about a special edition of Coverdale Page with bonus songs never heard, and a remix of the record. Again, let's preface it by saying he didn't know when he'd have time or when it would come out. But who knows? Something like that. And that's why I asked David that question. Something like that could be a catalyst to get Jimmy Page going. Because I don't know Jimmy Page at all. But he strikes me as a guy, because so many times we've been hearing about he's going to do this band, he's going to do that. It just doesn't happen. And the only time he really did it was with Coverdale. They made a record, they toured. So I don't know. It's not crazy to think that, and maybe if they don't make new music, but a couple unreleased songs, of course, anything with Jimmy Page on it, people are going to get excited about. I don't know I don't remember the year the Coverdale Page record came out. Was it early 90s? Late 80s? Look that up for me for a second, if you don't mind, Ed. The Coverdale Page album, what was the release date for that?
Hang on one sec here. 93.
93. So, 2003. So, whoa, look at where we are. 25 years. Right? You got all these anniversary reissues, this and that. This is the 50th anniversary of Zeppelin, 25th anniversary of the Coverdale Page record. What a way to celebrate. Again, they'd have to start working on it, but put that special package together, and by the end of the year, and then maybe that gets Jimmy Page like, let's go do a show and play some songs from it or what have you. Interesting. The plot thickens. All right, let's hit a break. We're going to come back. We'll talk to you about anything you want in the world of rock. We have had people waiting since the show went on the air, which I am very appreciative of. We'll get you guys in. We appreciate your patience. Obviously, had some other business to take care of today, spending a good 40 minutes or so with David Coverdale and some really juicy stuff in that interview. Let's take a break, though. We'll come back. We'll finish up the rest of the hour with you guys on the phones about the interview I just did or anything you want to talk about in the world of rock. You know what I'd love to hear, Ed, and maybe we're thinking on the same wavelength, or perhaps you, not to put you on the spot, but do you have a little pride and joy from the Coverdale Page record?
See, now I already had queued up Love Ain't No Stranger from the Purple Tour LP, but I can, if you give me 1 sec here.
I'll give you 1 second, because we played a little bit from the Purple record and we covered that in detail. But now that I was talking about Coverdale Page, the best song on that record, a killer song is Pride and Joy, and it just kicks ass. And the great Denny Carmassi on drums was part of that. And who was the bass player in Coverdale Page? I'm looking that up real quick. That wasn't Tony Franklin. That was the Firm, that Tony Franklin. That's the other thing. Paul Rodgers got Jimmy Page out of the house too, of course, because they did, of course, the Firm together. Hold on a second. Who was the bass player? I'm looking it up right now. Here we go. Coverdale Page, yada, yada, yada. Years active, 91 to 93. Past members, Coverdale Page. It doesn't even list Denny Carmassi. Here we go. Members. Denny Carmassi. I know Ricky Phillips. I don't know if he was on the record. Jorge Casas, bass. Tommy Funderbunk, backing vocals. I don't know who played the live shows. Oh, here we go. Touring members.
Guy Pratt and Brett Tuggle on keyboards. Denny Carmassi on drums. I don't know why. Yeah, Denny Carmassi played on the record. He's a beast. He's, of course, the drummer from Montrose. All right, give me a little pride and joy as we go into break. And please let it go. And, if you're starting at the beginning, make sure you let it go until when the riff kicks in, please. Because
I have it queued up to the riff.
No, let it start. Yeah, whatever. Just as long as we hear the segue into the riff when it slams in, that's what we need to hear.
All right. You want me to start it now?
Yeah.
Okay.
Go ahead.
All right.